There's been a lot of content about how to talk to the high priority people in your network, the people who are left leaning, who may or may not vote, and the people who are committed to voting who are still undecided. But who are the low priority people? How do you identify them and how do you interact with them? The low priority people are people who are MAGA enthusiasts, true MAGA enthusiasts, who are either likely voters or the shaky voters. Now, I want to recognize that talking to those folks in your network might be difficult, but I also want to suggest that using these same methods can be helpful to you, and I'll explain why. It is possible to use these conversations as a way of practicing your compassion skills, your listening skills, for preparation for the people that you really want to talk to. And you can do so without making them think you support where they're coming from. You can open up a conversation like this. I sense that we're in very different places about the election, and I'm not going to try to change you and don't want you to change me. But I'd be interested in knowing more about the experience you had that are linked to your belief. Now, if you pursue a conversation like this, they are going to say things that you don't like. It is useful for you, if you're going to use this method with other people later, to practice your discipline, to practice your compassion boosters, to practice your paraphrasing back, to remind yourself that engaging like this is an opportunity to learn. When I've taught white allies about dealing with people who don't believe in racism, I have told them that you have to have the attitude of like a forest firefighter as opposed to an urban firefighter. Urban firefighter wants to stamp out every fire because it can grow and spread. A forest firefighter sometimes looks at a fire and studies it and looks around because there are too many fires to look at it, to focus on every one. You're trying to learn what's going on. And so if you're talking to somebody in your network, and I'm not saying you create these opportunities, I'm saying that they come up in the course of life, you can use those times as a moment to practice your own discipline around these methods and also create more of a connection. And there's a beautiful icing on the cake, which is that it turns out that part of what goes on in the MAGA world is resentment of liberals. There's something called affective polarization, where they don't like liberals just because they're liberal. And it also turns out that having a empathy-based, compassion-based conversation has a small but measurable impact in lowering affective polarization. So just by creating an experience of compassionate listening, that I'm not saying you spend your time trying to create, you're doing a little bit to weaken MAGA resolve. So if you can discipline yourself to use these opportunities as a chance to grow your own ability to engage, you actually are not just growing you, but you're helping the cause. I'm reminded of what the Dalai Lama says. When you want to make yourself happy, choose compassion. If you want to make others happy, choose compassion. I would add, if you want to win elections, choose compassion. If you like the content of this video, please press like or subscribe, because that helps the algorithm push it out to more people who might want to see it. Anything you do in support, whether it's a like or a subscribe or a share or even a small financial contribution to this self-funded project, is helpful in making sure we can continue this important work of spreading compassion for the sake of democracy.